Hey, welcome to the AdaptX podcast, where we have conversations with individuals building accessible businesses, advocating for inclusion, or excelling in adaptive sports. Today, I'm joined by Mary MacDonald, a 16-year-old adaptive athlete from Taunton, Mass. Mary's journey in sports began with local clinics in her childhood, but her competitive drive took off 3 years ago when she started representing Taunton High School as an 8th grader. Since then, she has begun to distinguish herself in adaptive athletics, with powerlifting and road racing as her favorite disciplines, inspiring peers in the broader community with her resilience, talent, and leadership. She's part of an exclusive club of athletes who have completed in multiple unified 5Ks this spring as well, which might be my personal favorite part. So, Mary, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm quite excited to be here.
So you're only 16 years old, and adaptive sports you've only been participating in for like the last few years. So maybe let's talk about before that. So growing up when you were younger, what were you particularly interested in?
I've always been interested in like science, like things like that. But I really got into like music. I'm big into music. That was my kind of thing then. But over time, I started to realize that I had a talent for like athletics. Like I could actually do them. Yeah. At first, I didn't even know that was possible for kids with disabilities, so it pretty much just developed from there.
Who do you think introduced you to that possibility, that adaptive sports?
Probably Spalding Clinics, and Joe Lamar. I think you've had him on the podcast. So Joe Lamar and Joe Walsh, they definitely did. Yeah. I started out when I was about 7, and then I took a long break. And then came back right after COVID. Okay, yeah. Yep, COVID definitely put a lot of wrinkles into many plans. Yeah, Joe Lamar and Joe Walsh from Achilles and Adaptive Sports New England. Good friends of ours and doing amazing stuff. You mentioned music, theater as well. So those two things, at least theater, requires you to be really confident and comfortable in your skin. And I would imagine as someone with a physical disability, that might be challenging at times. Have you always been pretty comfortable? I've been comfortable. I love the stage. It's kind of like my second home, other than like sports. It's the place I go to as often as I do sports. Yeah. It's a great outlet to kind of change the perspective on how people with disabilities are seen. Like if I play a confident character, I can actually show that basically, even though I have a disability, that's not going to limit my confidence and the way I am. Yeah. Basically. Do you think that confidence is carried over into your sports? Oh, yeah, definitely. I think just being able to communicate with other people has helped because of theater. Like, I've been able to communicate with an audience. And then when I go into sports, I'm communicating with a wider audience of people who also enjoy sports. Yeah, that platform becoming more prevalent in the adaptive sports space. I mean, the Paralympics and adaptive sport, parasport as a whole is getting more recognition. Is there a specific athlete that you kind of like look up to? Oh my goodness. Eden Rainbow Cooper, I believe. Okay, I don't think I know. She won the Boston Marathon last year. And Tatiana McFadden and I think Daniel Romanchuk. Those are like my top 3. Yeah. Is Eden from around Massachusetts? Eden is not from Massachusetts. She's actually from Britain, I believe. So. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think the visibility and the representation is big. And I know you kind of want to play a similar role for other people getting into parasport. Mm-hmm. So how important is it that you kind of showcase what you're doing to a wider audience and maybe get more youth involved? It's definitely really important because when you first join adaptive sports and people start telling you this is what you should do, a lot of people get sent to the Special Olympics, which, yes, I love them too. I was a part of a basketball team in the Special Olympics for 1 year. But there's a difference, and some people, it takes a while to realize that definitely a difference. You have to transition from one to the other, and that's getting kids right directly into parasports compared to that makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Special Olympics is predominantly intellectual disabilities. So what sport did you participate in there? Basketball. Okay. Were you allowed to use your wheelchair? Yes, I was in a sports wheelchair with a bunch of kids who were standing. Yeah. Different. An interesting experience. What was the first para-adaptive sport that you did? I think it was wheelchair basketball. Okay. Yeah, I've loved wheelchair basketball, but I never really kept up with it. It's like a hobby, kind of. Yeah. I mean, you've participated in so many different sports, though, from curling to fencing to racing. Like, some are individual sports, some are team sports. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you like about maybe the individual pursuit of push rim racing? And then what do you like about the team sport aspect of something like basketball? For individual racing, it's more of this kind of drive and competition. And that kind of just like fuels me to get farther through it, while team competition is for social aspects, things that like, let's say I need a refresher or break from individual sports, that's when that will come in and kind of help me realize where my community is, and it helps me connect with them. Yeah. So that's kind of
the camaraderie from the social aspect of the team sports is pretty big. You've competed in, like I mentioned, a lot of different sports, but maybe focusing on push rim racing and Parapowerlifting. So you have aspirations to compete in Paralympic competition or whatever level that you're able to. Recently went to Move United Nationals, had a lot of success. Can you maybe share a little bit about what that experience was like?
It was amazing. I enjoyed it so much. I think my favorite part was definitely the powerlifting competition. I met some coaches from Michigan who, I love Michigan. I think I want to go there for college. I think it's my top. Okay. And it was great to have them cheering me on along with my family and friends, and that was great. And then for track, I just love being a part of my team. I'm with HSC, so Hospital for Special Care. And my team has Delmas, Mayo, and Haley Carroll, and those are the people who I love to spend time with and are with quite often because of track. So having that experience and being able to travel with my team and like go other places than just in Massachusetts is pretty much like the best part of it. Yeah,
it's awesome that it can take you so far. What was your performance like at Move United? I mean, I know, but the audience doesn't. So maybe can you share kind of records that were set, medals that were won?
I set the javelin record, the girls' javelin record for the T53 class, which was quite exciting. And then powerlifting, I got second with 2 silver medals. And then for track and field, I got 8 gold medals. Sorry, I'm like calculating these.
It's hard to keep track when you're dominating so much. But so T53? Can you explain maybe to the listeners what that classification is?
The T53. I forgot what classification field.
Yeah. So what's para javelin like? Maybe the setup and kind of the execution.
It's different per the weight of your actual implement is decided on the classification you're in, along with, I think that's about it actually, is just the weight of the implement and the records for the throws.
And are you in your wheelchair? Are you transferred into a different setup?
We're transferred into these kind of like high chair looking things. They're quite tall and they have like a lower back on them. So then you can lean all the way back and then
rotate a little bit more. With all the success that you've had so far, do you find it challenging to kind of stay motivated and push yourself, or does that success kind of breed more motivation to accomplish more?
I think the motivation is just like, I'm a teenager, so the motivation is going to be the same as like every teenager's, or there's going to be days when I'm just like not going to want to get up. But I think definitely it has helped with the success I've had. That definitely has helped me progress, and I'm happy that it actually motivates me rather than pushes me back.
Yeah. And I know, obviously, incredible individual achievements, but it requires a team, family support, etc. So, like, maybe what have been the biggest barriers for you in getting involved in parasport? We are grateful for the support of our first show sponsor. Resolution Fitness offers leading brand health club equipment and accessories for residential and commercial use. In addition to traditional exercise equipment, they specialize in adaptive fitness products and wheelchair-accessible machines. If you're interested in outfitting your fitness facility or home gym to be more accessible, visit www.resolutionfitness.ca or the link in the show notes below.
I think generally I wasn't very healthy for a while, and I think that was one of the biggest things because, of course, COVID happened. So at one point I was 180-something pounds. I've lost 40 pounds, which is crazy, through adaptive sports. And I think that kind of slowed me down at the beginning, and that's when I realized, like, oh, I have to change something. And then I did, and that's when I started to realize, oh, this is becoming easier. So it's kind of like the one barrier was myself. I was my own barrier for a while. And maybe, like, just the social stigma of it, I think, was also a barrier, like, because not a lot of people know what parasports is.
Yeah, what was that like maybe as an 8th grader participating in a predominantly traditional track and field team?
The kids there were really good. They were nice. The coaches were nice. But sometimes when you go to other like meets and things with other teams, there's been some interesting things that have happened because kids are surprised that there's a wheelchair user on the track along with able-bodied athletes. Yeah. Sometimes that scares parents to the point where they're like, hey, why is that kid on the track? And I'm like, well, actually, legally, I can be here because of Tatiana's law. So it's kind of just like thankfully, your local team is usually your best bet. They're usually the kindest people. But when you travel, it's kind of like that different area, different scenario.
Yeah. But at the same time, you're introducing people to this thing that they might not have thought was possible. And hopefully there's kids in other communities that want to get involved because they do see your success.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I met a little girl at Nationals. She's 14. I called her a little. She's 14. But she was amazing. And her name's Lucy, and she was an amazing racer. And I kind of want to see her become more like, I want to see her progress through the years as I continue to compete with her because she's doing really well.
Yeah. What's next on your radar for competition and stuff? Falmouth. Okay. Yeah. Have you been training the hills? Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's a really cool event. The crowds are incredible. The course is tough for the first 3 or 4 miles, but there'll be a lot of great athletes. I'm sure Maddie will be there. I'm not sure if Delmas will already be at school by then, but awesome. Yeah. Great. Yeah, we're hoping to stop by to watch it. Was there a race that particularly kind of stands out over the last few years and really like a memorable event?
I'd have to say, like, the Achilles event in New York, Central Park. I love that. Yeah. I've kind of never been into Central Park in New York. And just being able to both explore the park while pushing my chair was, like, the coolest thing I could ever imagine. Yeah. The mass amount of crowds and wheelchairs, like, it was filled with push rims and hand cycles and blind athletes and amputees. And it was just, like, this huge community of people who, like, understood what we were doing. Like, like we grouped together, kind of.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was that was recently, right?
That was quite recently. I think that was like a month ago now.
Okay, yeah. And that's the Hope and Possibility race, or I believe something along that line. Yeah, that's great. Achilles has done a lot of things for a lot of athletes, and we hope to kind of do some similar stuff in that regards. Are there particular training, I guess, approaches that you've found to be successful? Maybe we'll start with your push rim. Like, what does your training look like? Are you spending most of your time in the chair or in the gym?
So I spend most of my time in the gym because I do parapowerlifting. Yeah. But I've realized that like I need to kind of get it more into my chair. Mm-hmm. So I train at like a railroad trail every so often, and I train about 3 miles every time I do go there. Just a 3-mile run down and back to my car, and it helps. And I do that about like twice a week, I'd say. Okay. So. And
then what does the gym training look like for powerlifting?
Gym training is intense, that's for sure. Okay. So usually 2 to 3 times a week for an hour. A lot of bench pressing until I cannot like feel my arms, and then I start with accessories, so like abs, shoulders, back, things like that. Yeah. It tends to be a lot of like, at first it was 30 minutes for like 2 times a week, and then I realized once I upped my game, I was like, oh, I like this consistency, and it helped me progress.
Yeah. Do you find that like, so as a push rim wheelchair racer, or as an individual that uses wheelchair kind of for mobility, your shoulders are very important. Have you dealt with any injuries or setbacks or anything so far? Or have you been pretty fortunate? Yeah.
That is something I have to watch out for. I have very fragile shoulders as a wheelchair user. So that's going to be one of the things that a lot of people worry about. Yeah. So I got to start working on
that. I mean, I wouldn't call them fragile. You're quite strong. So it's more so just like making sure you're staying on top of like shoulder care and strengthening your back to kind of support the shoulder as well as you can. So that stuff's definitely essential as it grows. And I'm sure the Michigan group or wherever you end up will help you work on those things. But what advice would you give to younger athletes that want to get into parasport?
Don't let the social stigma wear you down. Just go for it. You know, you might meet people who you never would have met if it wasn't for it. And your life will be definitely changed for the better. You'll see a difference in daily things like transferring and stuff like that. So the more you do it, the more consistently, the better it will get. So just kind of keeping up with that and just get right into it. I don't think there's much stopping anyone except for find maybe a group that can help you start out, you know, just get right into it.
Yeah, equipment might be a barrier for some people, right? The cost of adaptive equipment can sometimes be a barrier.
And you can always start out with a day chair on the track.
Yeah.
I started out doing 50-meter sprints in a regular day chair. Yeah. So that's kind of like where I started, and then from there I learned.
Yeah. I think that is a misconception, right? That you feel like you need the highest tech to get involved, when in reality, you just need to get out there and get started. What do you hope the next few years will look like? I mean, for you have the aspirations to go to Michigan or maybe a similar school that offers parasport. But what do you hope to accomplish in that time frame?
Definitely more nationals, definitely more races. And I want to get to the 2028 Paralympics. I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
But I have 2 more years of high school. Well, going into my junior year, so 2 more years. Yeah. And then from there, I would have 2 more years of college before the games.
Okay.
So I kind of want to be able to get to the games, but if I don't, I just want to be able to compete at least once on an international level.
Yeah. Yeah. There'll be opportunities beyond 2028 too. Do you think you have more potential with like javelin and the field events or with the track?
Definitely with the field events because I am like more lifting oriented. So they're kind of similar muscle groups. So I'm going to be more into the field events in college rather than track. I think.
And parapowerlifting, hopefully. Yeah. I think did the university just have their first like competition in Michigan? I think they just kind of competed in parapowerlifting nationals for the first time. So yeah. I know Abby's been doing a good job with them. So if people want to kind of stay in touch or follow the work that you do, where would you recommend that they go? And
Massachusetts Miss Amazing Mary. Okay. And I have a website that'll be like linked on there.
Yeah, we can include it in the show notes too, so they can find it. Awesome. So we'll encourage people to get in touch to follow along and see everything you accomplish. But Mary, thanks for coming out for the interview, and now we're gonna go get a workout in.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for listening to the AdaptX podcast. Our effort to amplify the ideas of our guests and create more inclusive and accessible industries is futile unless these episodes reach a larger audience. If you enjoyed our discussion today, please leave us a rating or a review on whichever platform you use. And if you would like to learn more about AdaptX, the course that we teach to health and fitness professionals and the projects that our organization is working on, you can subscribe to our newsletter through our website, www.adaptx.org. Until next Monday.